Hey everyone, so today I am going to be going over Noah and her Job Plus that you guys will be getting next month in February for Valentine's. So, right now, Noah's kind of a sleeper unit in Global, kind of like Yoris was for the longest time, where she has a lot of good buffs on the horizon, and until she gets those buffs, she's just not going to perform that well. But you're going to be getting the first set of that series of buffs next month, so I figured we'd go over her. So, first thing, like always, I'm going to take a look at her Kaigan. So I personally prefer a 553 Kaigan Noah. You don't necessarily have to get the Gate 2. It gives you more damage, it gives you a little more speed. It's Gate 2 is 10% magic and 5% speed. And it also, the magic defense or physical defense, which was it again? It was magic defense that gets dropped from your not archmage, but armor mage passive. It gets reduced to only 10% instead of 25%. It's not like a super noticeable thing, but it's still nice to have. Gate 1, like always, is HP. Gate 2, a little more damage and speed. And we put out Gate 3 up to 3 for that one extra speed, because why not? So, taking a look at her gear, you'll notice I'm using the Alma swimsuit Nenso, and the reason I use this Nenso is because it gives Lesberg units 258 HP with no limit breaks, and also they gave it to us free from a panel, so I didn't have to pull it. Technically speaking, the Alma swimsuit Nenso is a gacha Nenso, it's just they gave us a free copy from a panel when it first came out. So that's why I use it, because I prefer to use the Emma VCR on Emma herself, so that way I can give Pamela the boost from that from that Nenso. But there really aren't a ton of Lust Nensos that synergize super well with a Lust Fire team, unlike the Lust Water teams that have the Lofia and Lavina Nensos. Anyways, you're going to want some kind of staff. I have the Nina VCR on me right now, but you're going to want some kind of speed and magic attack staff. Ultima's staff works really well for this. There's a free Rebecca VCR staff that you'll get when you guys get Rebecca that has 40 magic attack and 6 speed. This staff here is from the Crystal of Reunion collab, which is a Gumi property, kind of like POTK is, and that gives 30 magic attack and 6 speed. And this is the Princess staff from Etrian Odyssey collab, which is 30 magic attack and 7 speed. Really, you're going to want some extra magic attack, which is why I use the 50 magic attack 10 speed Nina VCR, but that's a little more difficult to get than, say, the free Ultima staff. It's not the most important thing in the world, and you could always just get a high magic attack staff and use a speed accessory instead. Regen armor is a good idea. Like always, regen armor is great, but if you don't have regen armor, or rather you can't fit it because you have it on everyone else and Noah is the 4th unit on your squad, rainbow armor works fine. Although, to be honest, you're running Emma, and she's going to want the rainbow armor more than Noah is anyways, because since Emma's a forecaster, she's like the one class that doesn't use the regen armor. Other valid options are the Taloma VCR, which gives a ton of HP. And really, you can just use any HP thing, but regen armor is preferable. And right here, this is a reward from clearing Neo Vita floor 110. It's very difficult to obtain, but it gives 5 fire and 20 wind exploit, which Noah can use super well. She has a better variety of fire skills than I'd say the other fire casters do, because her job plus centers completely around fire skills. So I think that she uses this particular accessory better than the other fire casters do, which is why if I'm not running someone like Black Masa and I'm running a magic team instead, Noah normally gets this. Other options, you can really use anything. If you didn't have a speed staff, you could use a speed accessory like the Saint Meteor for the extra heal. You could use the Fiona VCR for the 10 magic modifier. It really doesn't matter what that last slot is. Noah doesn't have anything that's super important, just you want your 3 core values in this order: speed, damage, or rather HP, damage, then speed. So, for her abilities, you're going to run both Archmage sub and main. You're going to want the Archmage reactive, and I like to run the Pirate passive for the extra speed, and you also get the fire and water resistance. And then you're gonna run the armor mage passive for the extra magic attack, and if you raised it, it's extra speed too. And unlike most other units, Noah can have 2 loadouts. Noah also has the Professor loadout. I'm not going to actually go into detail about the Professor, because not only do you guys already have this job enchantment, I'm pretty sure everyone in Global knows what a Professor does. The one nice thing about Noah is that the Poison Plus on her Professor passive will apply on her Armor Mage main kit, because one of her attacks poisons. There is also a VCR with 40 magic attack and I believe extra poison that you can get, and it's from a 4-star Nenso. I can't remember what it is off the top of my head. It might have been the Elizabeth Nenso that gave that, but I'd have to go and double check. But it's just another option. The loadout for this, you're going to be using obviously the Professor kit with the reaction from your Armor Mage, because always remember that defensive passives are almost always the best thing in Taga, because they can proc on skills while counters can't. The rest of her kit doesn't matter quite as much. I'd run speed or extra poison. I don't know why my kit is all messed up right now. So Noah will eventually be getting a master ability, and that master ability gives her 50 magic attack, 10 fire, and 1 move. And that's going to help her immensely running her Armor Mage, because it gets rid of her poor movement and gives her the extra damage that she really needs to pack a punch. And the one last thing is she does have access to the VCR from the Emma Nenso. And I don't ever run this on her, but this is a valid option to run on her. This VCR gives you 2 casts of a 40% rate heal. So what that basically means is that you get 2 casts of an AoE heals your units by 40% of their max HP. And that's really good, because as you get Kaigan, you're going to start getting units with around like 8k HP, and the old heals just aren't going to cut it. You need rate heal. Rate heal is the future. So let's go ahead and drop into a map here. I am going to be running the Pamela lead here. And I am running Pamela lead because that is the lead I normally use when I use my Fire Magic Lust team. Oh, there she is. And this leader skill gives 40% HP and 20% magic, 10% cast time reduction. Another option you can do is you could run something like Black Masa, which has a 50% HP and then 20% fire. That 30% is for a rating only, so it doesn't really apply to most maps. Black Masa, for all intents and purposes, is a 50-20 leader skill. And that will affect Noah's damage and give her extra HP if I'm running some kind of mixed damage team. And there's other 50-20 skills, like Carla. You can get a lot of mileage out of Carla's Kaigan leader skill, where she gets 50-20, and then she also gets an additional 20 wind exploit. But for the most part, I run Pamela lead in these situations. So let's go ahead and hop into the map. So I'm not going to be using any of Pamela's buffs. I have another video where I show those buffs off, if you want to check it out. But let's take a look at Noah's kit here. So the wind skill and the light skill haven't changed. And the light skill is very useful. If you aren't used to using this, get used to using it, because it's going to reduce her cast time to make her a much more effective caster unit. So the one thing you'll notice is that the thunder skill from the Armor Mage set has been replaced with a fire AoE. And as you can see, the damage she does between this fire unit and the wind unit is astronomical. She does pretty much double the damage to that wind unit that she does to the fire unit. And that's because of all of those nice modifiers and that extra fire exploit I put on her. In case you were wondering about that VCR I mentioned earlier, this is what it looks like. It's an AoE instant cast 40%, although it's doing 50% for some reason, so I don't know, maybe I need to go back and look. Actually, yeah, it is 50% rate heal, not 40%, I misspoke. So 50% of my max HP, and it's really easy to see it here, 2100 out of 4200. The second skill on her kit is a single target, where I guess I'll just pass its turn here so I can go over and see it on the wind unit. And this is a single target, and it has silence and poison on it. Poison's a nice status because you can get above 100% poison. So if let's say a boss has 100 poison resist, if you get above 100 poison, you can actually get that poison onto that boss. And people actually did that for the Dorothy EX Plus, where they would poison the 40k HP golem in that map, and it would die in a couple turns, and they were getting 1 turn clears technically for a competition. So keep that in mind. Poison is a really good status element, and those are the actual changes to her kit. The sub kit is pretty much untouched, but we still do have the drain dimension for extra damage. So let's go quick take a look at what that kind of damage is going to look like. So we'll start with the AoE, and as I'm sure you noticed, it's a lot higher, as it should be. But yeah, that's Noah in a nutshell. She's going to need a lot of buffs before she gets to this kind of level, but long term, she's a great unit. Fire has an extreme lack of veils. There's only 2 other major ones I can think of. One is Alyu, and the other is Kuruto. And Alyu is probably your best bet if you want a Fire Veil. I guess there's also Iris from the Final Fantasy 15 collab, but we don't know if or when Global is getting that, so it's definitely advisable that you raise Noah. I know she's available in the Shard Shop now, if I'm not mistaken. I would highly suggest working towards her, because that Fire Veil in the future is going to save your behind, and having the option to flip between damage and support is a really valuable asset most units don't have. And if you need any other reason to raise Noah, you can check out the cool skin I've been using this entire time, which is her free Valentine skin. During the Valentine's Day, there is a panel, and if you complete the panel, you get the Noah skin. So look forward to that. And that is Noah. So, like always, if you have any questions, just post them in the comments, and I'll try to get back to you. And thanks for watching. Hope to see you next time.